Welcome back to the Wiki tutorial video series. My name is Tom Albany with Biostat Global Consulting. In this video, we will run Wiki on the dataset from District 20 that we downloaded recently. Our goal today is to describe two important concepts when running Wiki: the recommended workflow and what to do in the event that Wiki returns an error message during a run. We saw in an earlier video that the Wiki control program requires you to specify a so-called Wiki data folder that holds all the relevant datasets and a Wiki output folder to which Wiki should direct output. In theory, these could be the same folder, but it is our practice to separate them and to hold the survey datasets in a data folder instead. We then direct output into a different output folder. We typically save the control program in the output folder. This helps us remember later how the output was produced. Most survey projects will involve running Wiki several times, either because you choose to divide the analysis into several steps, or because you want to be able to rerun each portion without having to rerun everything else. We recommend making separate folders on your computer to hold the output for each Wiki run. The workflow that we recommend is as follows. First, put the datasets into a single folder. These datasets may be used for several different analyses. The output folder will need to be changed for each analysis in order to keep each one separate. This will mean a copy of the control program in each of these output folders. The control program will be edited in block B to reflect the new output folder, as well as any changes to blocks D and F that might apply. Wiki has a program called Wiki Check instead of Run, which will look through the program for any problems without completing a full run. This time-saving measure can be enabled by setting Wiki Check instead of Run to 1. This will do a quick check of your control program and datasets to evaluate whether the input seems to be complete and consistent. If you fail to specify a parameter, or if you specify an invalid value, then Wiki will give you an error message right away rather than finding it 5 minutes or 50 minutes into a Wiki run. So it is a best practice to run this check. If it fails, address the problem, and if this check succeeds, change check to 0 and then complete your run. While running Wiki, it may be useful to have both the Wiki User's Guide and the Results Interpretation Quick Reference Guide. Both documents can be downloaded through the Wiki Users Group on the TechNet 21 website. If you are not already a member of the Wiki Users Group on the TechNet 21 website, take a moment to sign up now. You need to be a member there to access the files we are working with today. The Wiki Users Group is also your one-stop shop for downloading Wiki programs, tutorials, and documentation. These items can be found under the Files section of the group webpage. Let's take a moment to demonstrate how this workflow would appear. Feel free to use this demonstration to follow along and set up your first Wiki run. As we demonstrated in our video on finding and downloading the Wiki tutorials, we have a single folder where both the dataset and output folders reside within the Wiki tutorials folder. This folder is called District 20-Tutorial 01. The two subfolders within contain the datasets we will be using in a single folder called District 20 RI Data, and currently a folder called District 20 RI Output, where all the graphics, plots, and augmented datasets were placed by Wiki. Since I am starting a new analysis, I'm going to create a new output folder for today's run called District 20 RI Output 28 June 17. I will need to take the control program from my previous output folder and copy it into the new output folder. I will need to point this new control program to the new output folder. I can simply copy and paste the folder pathway into the appropriate line in block B of the control program. At this point, if we need to make any edits to blocks D and F for our new analysis, we could. But for now, we will just edit block B to reflect the new pathway for our output folder. We will also make sure in block B that we complete the Viki check instead of run by putting 1 here, and then running the Viki control program. If the checks are all passed, then you will see a white or black Viki billboard at the end. Underneath, it says that Viki ran with 0 errors and 0 warnings. Now I feel confident that I should not encounter any errors in a full run, so I can go back to block B, turn off the Viki check instead of run option by changing it to 0, and then run my analysis. I see again after my full analysis that the white billboard with 0 errors and 0 warnings appears. Further, in my output folder, I have folders containing all of my plots, including inchworm and organ pipe plots, which we will go over later, and the data which is used to make these plots. Additionally, there is an Excel file called ri_test_to, which contains a log of the run and all of my tabular output from the analysis. Sometimes Viki will exit prematurely, and a red billboard instead of a black or white one will appear, with an error message underneath. When these soft fails occur, you can follow the instructions in the message to correct the issue. Simply go back to the control program to identify and fix what caused the error, and then rerun. You can also look to your log in the output folder to identify the issues. If you are still having problems, you can also post this issue to the TechNet21 Viki discussion forum. In very rare instances, you might see a red line which does not contain an instructive error or the red Viki billboard. If you receive a hard fail like this, type Viki cleanup in your Stata window, and then look to your log to identify what occurred around the time Viki halted. In these instances, we recommend going directly to the TechNet21 forum and describing the last thing that worked, what you changed that caused it not to work, and attach a logged spreadsheet in order to help us in diagnosing the issue. That brings us to an end of our first run with Viki and basic troubleshooting of runtime errors. Please watch the next video for an overview of the different outputs which Viki can produce. You may use the links below in order to post a comment or a question about this video, to join the Viki users group at TechNet21, or to see a complete list of Viki resources.